Alright guys, hey! Okay, Miss Howell here, ready to walk you through the Pythagorean theorem. Okay? Just an FYI for today, you definitely need a calculator. You cannot do this without one. Okay, so either borrow one of Mr. Wang's, pull one up on your laptop so you can do it right here. As you can see, I got mine pulled up, but you need one. Okay, can't do it without one. There you go. All right, that's my little warning right there. Okay. All right, and also just as a reminder, please do not forget you have homework on Prodigy. Okay. Make sure you're working on Prodigy every single day at home. Okay. Every single day. If you want to know how far you are in your assignment, because Prodigy doesn't tell you how far you are, I will try my best to update your focus grades with how far you are. Or you can always just email me or stop by my room and be like, hey, Miss Howell, how many questions did I do with my homework? And I'll tell you how many you did. Okay? You just got to ask. Okay? So please be mindful of that. You do have homework on there that you need to be working on every day or at least whenever you have free time. Okay? At least in class. Okay? Because it takes time to get through that Prodigy. So make sure you're working on it. Okay? All right. And then just like a little forewarning for this week. Today you're going to learn how to do Pythagorean theorem. Next class, so it's either going to be like Wednesday or Thursday, depending on if you're A day or B day. Next class, you're just going to be practicing what you learned today about Pythagorean theorem. Okay, and then on Friday, like this Friday and next Monday, you're going to do the second part of Pythagorean theorem. Okay, because there's another thing you got to know how to do with Pythagorean theorem other than this. Okay, so just as kind of like a preview of what's happening this week, that's what's going on. Okay? All right, so let's get started. For Pythagorean theorem, in case you have never seen it before, Pythagorean theorem is only for right triangles. If you don't know what a right triangle is, that's whenever you see this little boxy thing on here? That is your right angle. In other words, this is 90 degrees right there. Okay? And whatever is across from that 90-degree angle, that's your hypotenuse. Okay, they put a little hippo there for hypotenuse. It's actually called the hypotenuse. That's its technical name there. And then these other two that make up that 90-degree angle, okay? So if it helps, a 90-degree angle, they make an L, okay? So it's L because these two are legs. So that's a leg, and this is the hypotenuse, okay? Now, a fun fact. The reason this has a hippo on it, because it's the hypotenuse or hypotenuse, however you want to say it, is because hippos are big, right? Right? Hippos are big? Okay. That's because this side of this right triangle, this hypotenuse, it is the largest side in that triangle, okay? No matter what the other one is. That one is always the biggest, like 100% of the time. Always the biggest, okay? Just so we're all aware, okay? Hypotenuse is the biggest side, 24/7. Okay, and the other two sides, they're always going to be smaller than that, and they're always called legs, and they always touch the 90-degree angle. So, let's just go through a little bit more here. Now, I just gave you a plain triangle so we can label it. So again, we have that 90-degree angle. Remember, whatever's across from it, that's called your hypotenuse. And these other two, these are called legs, if Miss Howell remembers how to write. Almost forgot how to do an E there. Clean that up a bit. That just bothers me. Alright, leg. That looks more human. There we go. Alright, now Pythagorean theorem. It's actually a whole equation called a squared. Okay, that's called an exponent called a square. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, all of these letters go with these sides. This is the most important one. Okay? The C is the hypotenuse. Okay? every single time. The hypotenuse is C, period. Okay? Now, the A and the B, those two are the legs. Guess what? It doesn't matter which one you put for which leg. It doesn't matter. It's whichever one makes your little heart happy. As long as you put the biggest side, the hypotenuse for the C, I don't care. Okay? So this one can be A, and this one can be B, or this one can be B, this one can be A. I don't care. As long as you have the hypotenuse is the C. That is the most important part here. Okay? Now, just in case you've never seen these little squares before, those little powers of 2, this stands for A times A, which means that this B squared stands for B times B. So this is saying A times A plus B times B equals C times C. That's what that stands for. So like say this was like 1 and this was 2 and this was 3. This was like, I don't know, 5. This is saying 1 times 1 plus 2 times 2 equals 5 times 5. That's what it would be. Now, obviously those numbers don't work, but I'm just giving you. Okay, so we're going to go try some, see how we do. Okay. So, and just in case you didn't notice it, for your notes, I kind of made it like a little book so like you could fold it, okay? So this blank page on the back, this is the part that like when you open up your notebook, okay, like how I did, because I did the algebra notes already for today. I taped it into my notebook, and then there's my notes for today, okay? So you're going to do the same thing with yours, like go over to the next page in your notebook, and you're just going to like glue, staple, tape, whatever, put that in your notebook. And then there you go. Those are your notes about Pythagorean theorem. Okay? Alright, so let's go back. And you can like glue or staple it in whenever we're done. Alright, so for Pythagorean theorem, you actually have to use this to find missing side lengths. Okay? And I gave you 2 different examples. One where you're finding, 2 where you're going to find the hypotenuse, and then 2 where you're going to find a leg. Okay? Because you need to know how to do both. And they both work pretty much the exact same way. Okay? And again, this is where that calculator comes in handy. Please make sure you have one out. Okay? So again, mine's right there. So hopefully this goes pretty well. All right. Now, first thing you need to do is find the C side. Which one's the C side? So again, you're looking for that 90-degree angle, remember, directly across from it. That is your C side every time, which means these other 2 are A and B. Again, you can pick whichever one you want to be A and whichever one you want to be B. I'm going to just put this as A and this is B just because it's what I felt like. Okay, so let's try. We're going to write A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So we're actually going to plug in our numbers for this. So we said A, or I said A is 18 squared plus squared is 24. So 24 squared equals C squared. Now we don't know what C is. So this one's kind of your option. You can either put C squared or you can put X squared. I'm going to put X just because they use the letter X. So there you go. There you go. You set up the problem. Step 1, done. Okay, now is the fun part. Now you have to multiply all that. So, the first one says 18 squared. So remember, this means 18 times 18. Okay, so let's try it. 18 times 18 equals big number. Let's write it down. 324. Okay. Plus 24 times 24. Okay, and just a fun fact, like these little numbers that I'm writing to show you the multiplying, you don't have to do that part. Like you don't have to write it unless that helps you remember. 24 4. 576. Man, why did I pick one with such big numbers for the first one? I don't know. That equaled squared. Okay. Now, hopefully you all know what that thing is, right? Right. Plus sign, which means we gotta add. So we're gonna add 324 to it. You get 900 equals x squared. Now, this is the fun part, okay? You get to use a fancy button on the calculators. Okay? You are looking for the square root button, okay? It's this guy right here, the one with the little liney thing over x. I forget what it looks like on Mr. Wang's calculators. I think the button looks something kind of like this. That's what we're looking for, okay? So this is called the square root. That is the opposite of squaring or multiplying by a number by itself, okay? Which is how we get rid of that little 2. Because basically we're taking this equation and solving it to figure out what x equals, okay? So we have 900, right? Wait. I'm going to say 900, and then I'm going to push the square root button. Oh, see what we got? We got 30. Because when you do it, right, 30 times 30 is 900, okay? Because that's what this was up here. This was x times x. So we got to figure out what that number was. What times what makes 900, okay? What it is 30, okay? So again, when we take the square root of that, square root of 900, we get that 30. There you go. You figured out what it was. So that's what the missing side length is. So if this side is 18 and this side is 24, this one has to be 30. Oh, and I didn't put inches. This is measured in inches. And yes, the units count. If you don't pick the right units, you'll get the whole question wrong just because you didn't pick the right. Alright, so 30 inches. There you go. That's all we're going to do. That's it. Okay? Again, it's just a lot of calculators. Once you know how to use a calculator, you're good. Okay? Alright, let's try it again. So again, take your right triangle. Find the 90-degree angle. They will always label it for you. Okay? The one across from that is your C side, which means the other two are A and B. You pick whichever one you want to be A and B. It don't matter. Okay? So I'm going to say this is A and this is B. We'll go with that. Okay, so A is 3. I always like to write Pythagorean theorem first, just so it helps you guys remember what it is. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared, and we said that A was going to be 3. So I went 3 squared. Yes. B is the one that we don't know. So we're going to put x squared because we have no idea what it is. And then C was 5, so we're going to put 5 squared. All right. Now we got to do all that multiplying stuff. Woo woo. Okay. So let's see. I need 3 times 3. Okay. Which that is 9. Now, if you want to be a little bit like extra uber fancy on your calculators, okay, you see how we have this 3 with a little power of 2 right there? Okay, do you see a button like that on your calculator? Mine is right there. So I'm just going to put 3. I'm going to push that button. Oh, see how we got that? We got the exact same number. We still got 3 times 3 is still 9, right? Right. Let's just verify to check. 3 times 3, not the same. Okay, so there's a little shortcut button in there to do a power of 2 if you want to use it. You don't have to. You still just put 3 times 3 and you get the same thing. Okay. Then we add plus, let's see, the x, we don't know what that is, so we're just going to write it. And then we need 5 squared. So again, 5 squared is 5 times 5, or 25. Okay, now, you see how in this last one, how we could just add them because they were together? Are our numbers like next to each other? Like, can we add them? No, we can't add them because this is 9 plus x squared. We don't know what x squared is. So you're going to have to do one extra step for these ones, okay? Instead of adding your number, you're actually going to have to subtract it. You're going to have to do -9 -9, okay? Or minus whatever number you have there. Okay, and we're going to get x squared equals, let's see, 25 minus 9, 16. Cool. Now we get to use that fancy square root button, okay? Because we finally got x squared all by itself. So we're going to square root, and let's see, drum roll, square root 4, okay? In other words, x equals 4, and it was measured in yards, so 4 yards. Ta-da! Okay. Is it that bad so far? Hopefully it's not that bad. I know it's a little much at first, but it gets easier the more you do it. It's really simple. These are the only two types you're ever going to have. Either you're going to have one where you can just add it right away, or you have one where you have to do one extra step of subtracting, but that's it. Okay, so let's try some more. Okay. Same thing. So let's try this first one here. Let's see, we have our 90-degree angle. We're going to go across from it. That's your C side. Okay. And then write the formula again, because the more you write it, the more chance to memorize it. All right. So let's go ahead and fill in our numbers. I'm going to use x is a and 7b, because why not? X squared plus 7 squared. Okay. So I know what all these squares are off the top of my head. So I want you to try it and see what you get. See if you get the same thing. So let's see. Cover my nope. That won't make. Oop. You know what? I could just turn the camera off. So there you go. Then you can't see it. Ha. Let's see if you get the same thing I do. Okay. So make sure you're multiplying, right? Make sure you're doing 7 times 7, 9 times 9. Okay, let's see. Drum roll. You have the same thing? You have the same thing? Yeah, good job. Okay. All right, so let's see what we got to do now. We got 49 and 81, but we have that x squared plus 49. We got to take that 49. We got to put it over here with that 81. So how can we do it? Well, let's see. It says plus 49, right? What's the opposite of plus 49? Hopefully you said minus 49. Let's do it. We're going to subtract 49, subtract 40. So again, calculators, beautiful things. 81. There we go. 81 minus 49. Hey, look at that. 32. X squared equals 32. And again, to get rid of this tiny little squarey thing, we have to undo it using a square root. So the square root of 32 is, ooh, big. Okay. Now, whenever you get big decimals like this, okay, you're just going to round it to like the first like 2 decimal places normally. Unless it asks you to keep it as a square root. So you can just put x equals the square root of 32, which you don't really do that in 8th grade math. It's more of like 10th grade math when they do that, but just in case. But we're just going to round it and say that x is about. Okay, and also a fun fact, squiggly equal signs mean about. So it means that you're rounding. It's about 5.66. There you go. All right, let's try the next again, we're going to take a look at our triangle, find our right angle, go straight across. This is your side, which means the other two are going to be A and, again, doesn't matter which one you pick for A and B, so just pick whichever one's making your heart happy. Write the formula again. Squared plus equals. So A squared is going to be 35 squared. That's going to be 12 squared. Okay. So these are bigger numbers. So 35, 35. Wait. 1,225. Isn't that fun? 12 times 12. Let's see. 44. All right. Now, give you a second. Okay, now, see how you got that plus sign in between your two numbers? Guess what you got to do? Add them up. So plus 1, 5. Should get 1,316. That's great. 1,300 equals squared. But again, we need to get rid of that tiny little square root, or the tiny little square. How we do that is by using that square root function. Square root. Get rid of it. So you should end up with x equals, let's see, I got 37. Y'all got 37? I got 37. I'm gonna double check that just because I want to make sure. 6, 9. Yeah, 37. All right. It's 37 kilometers. Now, instead of just doing the math again like that, to double check myself, you could actually like take the 37, do 37 times 37. See how I got the 1369 again? Right? Isn't that what we had when we added them up? It's another way to check to see if you did it right. Okay? So that is how you find the missing side lengths using Pythagorean theorem. Okay? So that's just like the main use of Pythagorean theorem is that right there. So like 95% of the time, that's what you're going to use for is this stuff. Okay? So let's go on to this next part right here. Okay, now we're going to talk about Pythagorean triples. Now, a Pythagorean triple. Okay, it would help if you knew what that was, right? All right, let's write it down. A Pythagorean triple is 3 positive. I guess it would help if you could see what I'm writing, right? 3 positive. You can say integers or numbers, your choice. 3 positive. Integers is more correct. But integers, that's just the math teacher in me. 3 positive. 3 positive integers. Pythagorean. True. Okay. In other words, a Pythagorean triple are 3 numbers that always work for Pythagorean theorem. No matter what, they always gonna work. Okay. So like 3, 4, 5 will always work. Okay. Don't believe me? Prove it. Okay. So 3, 4, 5. So let's see. 3, 4, 5. You got to figure out which one is the C number, right? So remember what I told you, like all the way at the beginning? The largest side is always the side, right? Always, no matter what. So that means that the 5 is going to be your C side, which means that these other two can just say like 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. So let's prove it, okay? Let's figure out what those are. 3 squared plus 4 squared. So in my calculator, 3 times 3, get 9. 9 plus 4 times 4 is 16 equals 5 times 5 is 5. So you ask yourself, what is 9 plus 16? 25. So in your brain, does 25 equal 25? Hopefully, like, again, not your brain, but like Miss Howell's perfect math world, where all the things are, normal. I know some of you are different, which is totally fine, but keep it in like normal math. Okay. Does 25 equal 25? Hopefully you said yes. Okay. It works. Okay. You can do that with any of these list of numbers and it works. And it will also work for any multiple of these numbers. So that means if I took 3, 4, 5, say I decided I want to multiply all of those by 3. So when I say multiply by 3, I mean, what if 3 times 3 is, right, and 4 times 3 is 12, and then 5 times 3 is 15. What if I used those three numbers? Would it still work? Let's try it. Okay. So 9 times 9 is 81. 12 times 12 is 144. And the last one was 81, right? So plus 81, we got 225. So what's 15 times 15? 225. Yeah, see, it still works for any multiple of these. So you could take any of these in this list and multiply them by any number. It'll still work. It'll still work in Pythagorean theorem. Okay. Now, another fun fact. This is just a teeny tiny list that I gave you. This list is like long. Okay. This is just some of them. Okay. I gave you some of the more popular ones. Like 3, 4, 5 is the most popular triple you are ever gonna see. So that's one you need to like memorize. They ask you about it every time. That's the most popular one. But these other ones are kind of a little bit more lesser known. But like 5, 12, 13, they use that one sometimes. But 3, 4, 5 is like the big money maker, if you will. Okay. Now, what they were gonna ask you to do with this like list of numbers is they want you to determine if those lengths make a right triangle, yes or no. And you just gotta figure it out. Okay, there's no picture to help you. They're just gonna give you a list of numbers. It'd be like, does that work? Prove it. And that's what they're gonna ask you to do. So I'm gonna show you how to do it. Okay. It's just like what we did up here. We're gonna figure out if it works or not. Okay. So again, just like when we were over here working with this, the first thing you got to figure out is which one is your C number. So remember, the C number is always the biggest. Okay, so find the biggest number. Okay, that would be the 29. Okay, that's going to be your C, which means your other two are A and B. And again, it doesn't matter which one you use for A or B, like which one. I'm going to just go in A because that's just the order they always go in. That's just what I do. All right, so it's A, B, C. So let's set it up. Again, I like to write the equation because again, it helps you guys memorize. Because Miss Howell hasn't memorized from writing it all the time. Squared plus C squared, and let's plug in those numbers. We have 20 squared plus 21 squared equals 29 squared. Okay? Alright, so let's do some math here. I need... Oh, no. Why'd I hit divide? I don't know. Alright, 20 times 20 is 400. Plus, I need 21 times 21. 441. Then I need 29 times 29. I got 841. Give you all a second to catch up. I take some water because I'm parched. Alright. Next up, there's an addition sign. Guess what you gotta do? You gotta add. So I need 400 plus 441. Let's figure it out. 841. So does 841 equal 841? Hopefully you said yes. So determine if it makes a right triangle. Yes. It makes a right. Okay. There you go. All right, let's try the next one. All right, so for our next one, okay, again, you got to figure out which part is the C part first. Remember, the C side is always the biggest side. Good job. Nice. Okay, so look at your numbers, right? 66 is our largest. Now, it is not always going to be the last number. That was bad on Miss Howell's part. I should have mixed it up just so you could see what that looks like, but sorry. All right, I already printed this, and I don't. But they will give you some where it's going to be not in the correct order. So please, please, please don't always expect it's going to be the last number because it won't always be that way. I promise you. Like on your homework, for example. Okay, it's not always going to be that way. I just wrote them. Anyway. All right, so this is your C side. Okay, so let's do the other two. And I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to make this one B and this one A just because this way you don't get used to having them all in order. So if A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay, all right. So let's try. Let's see. I said A was going to be 60 squared. 4 squared and C is going to be 6 squared. All right. those look so fun to go into. Let's see. Let's see if you do the same thing that I do. You guys do all the multiplying. See if we get the same thing. So I'm going to just turn the camera off. Right in. Phone count. So make sure you're multiplying the same number times itself. It helps if I put it in the calculator right. Alright, so I did my multiplying and I messed up a few times in the so you should have yours done now. Let's see, did you get those numbers? Get those? Yeah? Nice. Okay. Even if you mess up on one of them, that's okay. Okay. This is my suggestion. Do this like 2 or 3 times in the calculator, see if you get the same thing. So do like in your calculators, do like 4 times 24. Okay, I got 576. Do it again just to make sure. 24 times 24. Oh, cool. I got 576 2 times. Cool. I got the same thing. That can help you make sure you're typing it in right. Okay. So it's just, that only took me an extra like 2 seconds to type it in again to see if I would get the same thing. Do that. It can help you. Okay. All right, now the last part means, let's see, that's a plus sign, so we gotta add. 3600 plus 576. I got 4, 1, and 6. 5, 6. So, did that work? Did you get the same thing? I didn't get the same. I'm gonna go with nope. No. It does not make right. I don't know if I have enough room to write triangles. So no, does not make a right triangle. Okay. So there you go. Now you know what it looks like for both types. All right. So that is it. Please make sure you take these note pages, put them in your notebook, so that you can use them as your homework. Your homework should be Ask Miss North, if you didn't already get one. Should be a paper, looks like this, says Pythagorean Theorem, okay? There are, I think, 22 questions. 22 questions where you're figuring out, using Pythagorean Theorem, what it is, okay? And like I said, there were some on there where you have to show me if you could figure out is it a right triangle or not, okay? So there you go. If you need help with anything, remember I have tutoring on Tuesdays after school. And again, just so you remember, you also have homework on Prodigy. In next class, you're just going to be practicing more of this, okay? So otherwise, see you next time, guys. Bye.